2-minute warning. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think Edwards is absolutely the real deal. And even losing last night, it was like this guy. He was 0 for 6 in the first half, and then just, went unconscious in that third quarter. And like, if anything, I feel like he's still kind of like he has the green light, but he doesn't. He's hesitant sometimes. And like, if you just, it's like, just shoot the ball, dude. You have a green light at any turn. All right, I'll just double check. 28-0 at half.
Yeah, we got the Knicks tonight. We're TNT game.
Really?
We should be 3-0. That Nets collapse is just all on Doc Rivers. I don't know if you watched that game.
He's not a good coach.
No, he's not. He's just it feels like you should be able to catch on to a pattern. You can't keep blaming players. And that's what this whole thing did. In the playoffs, we knew the plays Ben was making were dumb, and the whole situation was dumb. And now the offseason has always been about Ben, but it just like, oh, yeah, Doc also just still kind of sucks.
I mean,
you got it going.
Pelham Panther fans, it's time for Panther Pulse, brought to you by Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill and Joseph Chambers, your State Farm insurance agent in Pelham. Now live from Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill in the Pelham Town Center, here's the voice of the Pelham Panthers, Justin Foster.
It is another week of the Panther Pulse. We are here live at Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill in Pelham, Alabama for the weekly tradition here in football season for the Pelham Panthers. Good evening, everybody. Justin Foster here with Caleb Turrentine, and coming off of another victory for the Pelham Panthers, 35-14. Caleb, a lot to cover tonight. Your thoughts on a comfortable win for the Panthers?
Yeah, it's a good way to wrap up region play. I think last week was pretty exciting across the state, and it's kind of nice not to have been a part of one of those upsets that happened last week, not being the one to get upset, because I'm still reeling from that Thompson-Hoover game. So I'm ready to get my head around some other game now.
A shocker there, not so much for the Panthers, 35-14 again over Chilton County. Tonight we will, as always, chat with Coach Causey. We have our track teams in the house as well as cross-country, conversations with them coming up, as well as conversations with some key players from Friday night's victory, joined now by Coach Tom Causey. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. How about y'all?
Doing great, and got to be feeling pretty good about the game Friday. Comfortable win in Clanton over Chilton County, 28-0 at halftime, 35-14 a final. Your thoughts on the team's performance?
Well, I thought defensively we played extremely well all night long, and in the special teams, we tried a little surprise on side right there, and I thought it was good for Jake to try to get one of those under his belt. And Darius had the long punt return for a touchdown. Markel Bell had a long return later in the game, and Darius had another long kickoff return in there. And I thought in special teams and defensively we played extremely well all night long. Offensively, I think we came out and hitting on all the cylinders right there early on in the game. And then I thought we kind of bogged down. Part of that's my fault. Sometimes, and I guess, I don't know, I'm old school, but there's 15 to 18-year-old kids on the other sideline, and you want to make sure that there ain't no doubt that the game's over, we got you, and we're not going to run the score up. And I think we kind of got choppy a little bit on offense because we did change what we were doing. We kind of changed gears and geared back down, went into low gear. But I thought our kids did a great job of handling that as well. So it was a really good win. Like Caleb said, it's really good to end the region play with a win like that.
Yeah, we talked last week about how important it was to put away a team early on when you feel like you have the advantage, and y'all did that. Do you feel like it allowed you to maybe experiment with personnel or play calling in the second half?
We did. We did some things that we had worked on a little bit in our off week, and when I called it, I heard some groans in the headsets from our coaches because we hadn't been very good with it in 2 weeks, quite honestly. And I said, this is the perfect opportunity for us to see if we can do it or not in a live situation. And our kids handled it and did okay with it. And, you put some players in different positions. I don't know if anybody paid any attention to it, but we were able to get Darius in the second half at safety some early in the third quarter because I think that's something that can help us down the road, playing him over there. And our defensive coaches were quick to remind me at halftime that, hey, we're going to get Darius a little bit right here. And so we were able to play some different guys on the offensive line too with our first skill group that I think gives them a chance to us to find out if they can handle that as well.
So how do you balance that with not trying to show all your cards to those playoff opponents?
Well, and sometimes you want to show every card you got or not every one you got, but you want them to see some that you may not be playing too.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to see pictures that they may not ever see again, but they have to work on. I used to work for a guy named Bobby Johns, who was a great player at Alabama for Coach Bryant and coached all over the SEC. And we had a kid named Bobby Clayton play quarterback for us, and Bobby was a 6'4" kid out of Gulf Breeze, Florida, and couldn't run. I could outrun him. But we would always run a speed option with Bobby during the game at some point, just so the other defense – we were a West Coast kind of offense, and just so the defense had to work on speed option the next week in practice. And so I thought we got to do some of that for our opponents coming up in the near future too.
You talk about, being up 28-0 and half, maybe throttling down a little on a team that, down on their luck, 28-0,
sure.
Games in hand. How do you balance developing guys when you're in that mode?
That's a good question. Well, when we're splitting them in there with different guys in, once we make that wholesale change, we don't call back. Once our next group of guys are on the field together, everything's fair game then. And you just run out of time, really. But their job is to go out and execute our offense. My job is to call plays to see if they can execute it. And at that point, I don't worry about play call or if he scored or whatever. I thought Racine, every time he touched it, he had a chance to score. But we're just running our base offense, trying to give our guys a chance to perform a little bit. And he popped one. If he popped two more, that'd been good too. At that point, it's not. When our second group guys go in and our younger guys go in the game, their job's to score, and our second group of guys on defense, their job's to keep them out of the end zone. And so I don't worry about it at that point. We just call them plays now.
You mentioned Ross, and it's the guy I wanted to talk about. He had some nice work in that second half.
He did.
How important is it to continue his development, to have that second guy as the season comes?
We talked about him this morning and how far he's come. In the summertime, I made me a little bit nervous, honestly, and. He's gotten better, and I think that the greatest attribute, our greatest plus for Racine has been 34. I think Gabe has shown him how to be a football player and how to study and how to work and what to look for, and he does a much better job of doing that than the coaches do because sometimes we kind of lose it a little bit. Expectations are high, and Gabe slows down a little bit and teaches a little better. And I think Racine's learned a lot from watching him.
When you talked about the region play as a whole, finishing it strong is good. When you look back at it as a whole, y'all had the target on your back coming in as region champions last year. How do you feel like the team handled it and that pressure now kind of looking back at it, as a 6-game slate or 7-game slate?
Well, I think that, I kind of told them in the offseason, last year we were kind of laying in the bushes and we got to sneak attack people. Can't do that anymore. And I thought they did a really good job of handling that this year. And especially teams that we beat last year that really were probably more physically better than we were. And you don't get a second chance to do that, catch them by surprise. And I thought they handled that really, really well. When we play hard, we play fast, that really doesn't matter, honestly. But they did a good job of handling that all year long.
Will Langford ran the ball effectively again as he's continued to progress with that and have that element really showing out second half of the season. How do you balance a guy who's mobile like that and adds that dimension to say, hey, slide down, stay healthy, but we do want to utilize what you do on the ground?
Well, I think the closer you get to the end of the season, the less you talk about that because now you're getting to the point where every game's the last. And but I think that comes with maturity. I think that comes with more snaps he gets at quarterback. He understands that it's time to go down or get out of bounds. And, I saw Gabe do that Friday night, and I'd never seen him do it. Part of it was because the field was so wet, but he stepped out, and I thought, that's good. That's really good. Instead of taking that shot right there, and we've got every yard we're going to get, he steps out of bounds and saves himself one collision. And I think that just comes from maturity and getting reps in games. I don't think as a coach you can tell a kid this is when you slide or this is when you step out. That's got to be something in the game where you realize I've got every inch I'm going to get on this play, get down or get out of bounds. And both of those guys are doing a better job of that.
Speaking of staying healthy and things like that, you said the bye week came at a good time. Do you feel like it benefited y'all? Did you see a spike in energy?
Very much so. I noticed it in pregame warm-ups. We looked fuller in uniform. I know we didn't gain any weight over that time, but we just looked a little more bounced, a little more full, and that was exactly what we needed, and that's exactly when we needed it. And if I could pick it, I'd get 2 and have one this week too for next week. But this game we have this week is a big game for us, and it's turned into a little bit of a rivalry too with these two schools. But I thought we did. I thought we looked healthy and fast Friday night, and we played that way.
I know we've had the bye before the playoffs in several years past. Is it advantageous to play a couple after the bye to get a rhythm before the playoffs?
I think so. If you have it as late as we do in week 8, I think it's good to go play again because you do have to get back in a rhythm. It's almost like I told you guys last week when I woke up on Sunday, because good night. It feels like we hadn't played the game in a month, and I think it's good. I think more than any other sport, football it'll teach you to be a creature of habit, because this is every Monday. And when you play baseball or basketball or soccer or track or whatever, you may have a meet or a match or a game on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Well, in football, we pretty much know we're going to play Thursday or Friday. This is what we're going to do on Monday. This is what we're going to do on Tuesday. And this how. And so when you have that interruption there, you got to get back into that rhythm of this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, and it really becomes like it's your left foot, right foot. You kind of, and then you look up and you're in the 10th game of the season.
How does that rhythm change from game 1 to game 10?
I don't think it really does. You have the summer, and then you have preseason practice, and then that first game week's kind of unique and a little different. And then once you get in that rhythm of playing, it's just it really is no different. The difference is time change. It gets a little cooler, thank God, and the leaves start changing colors. So, and when you played on natural grass, it turned brown. And that's really the only difference.
Get some of those dirt patches as well.
Well, I used to tell our players when we played on grass, you've had a good season when you're playing and the grass is brown. That means you're still playing when the weather changes.
And when it's bitter cold, you get some of
those. Got to put some long sleeves on. Something good is happening.
Yes, absolutely. That's right. When it's in the upper 20s and you're still playing, good things are happening.
Absolutely. Well, big one coming up Friday. We will talk more about that, or coming up Thursday, correction.
Yeah, there you go.
Another Thursday game. That is Homewood, a big rivalry game, as Coach said. We will talk to him about that one later in the show. Coming up, as we said, we have the track team here. We have some cross country for you. But coming up right after the break, we chat with several key seniors for the Panthers. That is coming up here from Golden Rule. Should be a great show right here on the Panther Pulse on 93.3 The River.
It's easy to trust a business that's got good history. Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill has been cooking up good eats since 1891, when the first Golden Rule opened up in Irondale. Golden Rule has been one of Pelham's most popular go-to spots since 1980. Whether you want a pork sandwich, slab of ribs, or a feast tailor-made for tailgating, Golden Rule is ready to serve. Good food with a good history. Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill in the Pelham Town Center, just a few doors down from Publix.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of Pelham Panther Athletics. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked number 1 by J.D. Power & Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number, 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I've always wanted a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Hi, neighbor.
Mr. Rogers passed along friendship in his neighborhood, hoping we would do the same. So let's get started. Friendship. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at Values.com.
Back here at Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill, it is the Panther Pulse marching along here. Cannot believe we are to the last regular season Panther Pulse. Of course, we will have a show next week to preview the playoff matchup. But, yeah, it's crazy how fast this season goes. Joining us now, we have two great seniors with us, Caleb Newell, Jalen Tate. Guys, how we doing?
Good.
Great to have y'all back. Always great to chat.
Yes, sir.
Caleb, we're going to start with you. We know you got the honor of representing Alabama, that Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. Talk about that selection, what it means to you to represent the Panthers in a statewide game like that.
Well, I was told by a couple of the coaches and everybody that told me about it. They said that it's an honor to be on the team. Not many people from Pelham have been able to, go and play in the game. So it means a lot to represent Pelham and represent the team as I go off and play. So it's just, and no words can describe how good it feels, really. So.
Yeah, there are a lot of good players that get to go out and play on those teams. Have you looked at the roster? Have you seen some guys that you really are excited about seeing in practice or across the field?
I have. I've always wanted to, play against the touted Jeremiah Alexander and Justice Finkley. So I think it'd be fun in practice against them and getting some reps against some really good guys. So
without the Pelham-Thompson rivalry anymore, that'll be a lot more fun now. A little less pressure out there too in practice.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of selection signals the fact that you're closing in on the end of your high school career. For you guys, what does that mean? And is there any perspective or any feeling of urgency that, hey, we don't know how many games we got together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely say there's a sense of urgency. Like, we have to, every second we're out there, we got to make sure that we're giving our best, and we got to leave a legacy behind us. If it's just teaching the guys up under us how to lead, or if it's, stepping stones getting into the playoffs for the guys. So that's really what I think about every day when I go out there and trying to, solidify my role here.
Mm-hmm. For me, definitely, there's a little bit of sense of urgency. I think just at the beginning of the season, I've always tried to just take it for granted, I don't know when my last game is going to be. I've seen, like one of our DBs in the secondary, Fabian, he played his last game in Helena, and that just really opened up my eyes, like, that could be me. So there's definitely a sense of urgency, and I felt like I've done a great job with leading our younger guys, and I feel like going into our next game and the playoff game, the first round, I'm going to continue to do that and just empower my teammates and, make the defensive side of the football, just the football team in general, a family.
Yeah, before we talk about the end of the season, you got at least 2 more games. I know y'all won at least 6 more games.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all have won 3 in a row for the first time all year. What's the confidence level like in the locker room?
Everybody, I wouldn't say there's too much of us being cocky with it or anything like that. I say that, we're keeping it level-headed, going on to the next one, worrying about what we need to do to advance further in the playoffs, of course, and get to that last and final game and, raise the blue flag up in the middle of the field. So,
yeah, definitely agreeing with Caleb. As we come down, just trying to, stay confident and just stay confident with our guys. I believe that we can make it to the state championship game, and that, those 3 games, just trying to stay humble. There's a lot of teams out here that's won 8 straight, and I think you just come in there all cocky, that's how you lose. And I think that's kind of how it was kind of last year. When we lost to Homewood, that really opened our eyes, and then we're just like getting that first round. We think, okay, yeah, we're going to beat this team. We're not worried about it, and we get upset. So I think that's really opened our eyes that we can't take it for granted, and that we have to go out there and play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, quite frankly, the last 2 games we've played opponents whose record is not elite, not elite teams.
Yes, sir.
How do you kind of level out of, hey, we got this confidence, but we don't want to overlook opponents? You're not going to have any, teams winless in region from here on out.
Oh,
it's
yes,
going to be stellar elite teams. But how do you kind of manage that and, keep it within the locker room?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we definitely take – we don't take any teams for granted. We now we don't. After the loss against Chelsea, that was the game that opened our eyes for this year. We learned that we can't not take anybody serious. So we definitely go into the game thinking that, we're going to get their best, so we got to give them our best.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just saying what Caleb said, after that Chelsea game, it really just opened a lot of eyes. Like, we can't just bull crap Monday through Thursday. Like, we have to play the game Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the focus just has to stay focused. Like, I think what like you're saying, we're about to play elite teams, so we can't take anything lightly, and we just have to stay focused.
This is about to be y'all's third straight road game. Does that wear on y'all at all, those road trips, or does that just make it that much sweeter knowing that home playoff game's coming?
No, it definitely it feels better playing at home and going away on the bus ride. It really isn't fun, but I wouldn't say it wears on us. I think it's especially since these are closer to home games, it's definitely a better thing for us. So we're not really wound down on the bus. We're just ready to play. But then when you do get the W after the game, you're just ready to be home. You don't want to drive on that bus ride home. So
yeah, like Caleb said, we definitely missed our Pelham fans, but I think these road games are just a great opportunity just to keep our focus and how to focus. When winning in the playoffs, you're not going to play every game at home, so I think that's really preparing us for the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
You talk about the home atmosphere. In last year's playoff game against Lee Montgomery, did kind of feel like nerves played a part, especially early in that game. We came out, it seemed to be a little tight. You got all the alumni in the stands watching, and the expectations for the first time that year, it kind of felt like y'all were feeling that weight early on.
Yeah.
We regrouped, fell a little short, but do you feel like that experience for this home playoff game is going to be beneficial to the preparation and early on in that game?
No, it most definitely will. We had a bunch of young guys last year. It's their first time being up in a big stage. We hadn't seen that many people in the stands in a long time. So this year, we'll have that under our belt. So we'll definitely understand the pressure and what we have to, focus on more as we're at home.
Green and Quill, I think that's going to be very beneficial. Like I know defensively, we started very slowly, giving up some runs and some passes. And just as a team, we kind of slugged through the first half. And I think fighting back in the second half, that's really kind of what killed us. But I definitely gained some experience, and just that feeling after the game just makes me want to give it my all every play.
It's been a long time since Pelham beat Homewood. I know there's a playoff game everyone's focused on, but does that help you? I mean, I was a senior the last time Pelham beat Homewood. That was my senior year, so it's been a while. Is that helping y'all keep focused?
That's definitely making me keep focused. This is my last time I'll be able to play Homewood, so doing in a regular season game. So it really means a lot to me, and I know what's at stake for them. So just to come out victorious on Thursday would mean a lot to me.
Oh yeah, knowing that Pelham hasn't gotten their one step up above Homewood in a while really puts not a chip on our shoulder, but we definitely want to get it done this Thursday. We stopped them from getting the playoffs. We have that choice too. We come out and we play, then they aren't in the playoffs, but we just got to give our all no matter what. So
your teammate BJ Maxina told me today that he's treating this as week one of the playoffs. Last year's Homewood game, let's not beat around the bush, that was a heartbreaker for all of us.
Yep.
I think going into that playoff game, whether guys want to admit it, it was still kind of in the back of their mind. Does last year still factor in, or are y'all thinking about that as a revenge factor?
Yeah, I would say so. I say it as a revenge factor. That last call that broke all of our hearts, it kind of still lingers in the back of your mind, and you want to get that bad taste out of your mouth. So getting the win this Thursday would definitely set us up good for the playoffs and, our egos.
Definitely agreeing with Caleb. With as many wins as they have against us, I don't believe they respect us as a organization. So going out there would be, I think that's very boosts our confidence. And I think last year losing that game, that was, a lot of people couldn't, as just a football team, it was kind of hard to move on because, we didn't lost in so long. So I think coming out and winning is just going to be a great booster to our playoff run.
As we round into that final stretch of the season, a little bit of tweaking going on offensively, defensively. We got representatives of both sides of the ball. So we'll start with Caleb on this. What do we need to do offensively to kind of reach our peak as we round that home stretch?
Well, offensively, I feel that we need to get the ball rolling early. We need to punch it down their throats as hard as we can. And if it comes down to where we can't score, we want to obviously set our defense up in a good spot. But that'll be our main focus for the game is, getting the ball rolling early and getting up on them real quick.
What responsibility do you take as kind of the leader of that offensive line, senior, very outspoken, energetic, hyped? How do you kind of take that on, knowing that our running game kind of sets up that offense to be successful?
Well, I definitely feel a lot of pressure behind me. I'm out there running for Gabe and making sure he don't take as many hits as he needs to. So, I kind of hype the guys up. Trying to not lose my cool as it's been done before, but keep level-headed, show the guys that we got this, and let's just get it going. So.
What about defensively, Joe?
Just defensively, I know we struggled throughout the year just to get off the field on third down. I think that's going to be the biggest part. Getting off third down and getting our offense on the field is just a big thing to me, and allowing our guys, all 11 on the field, to just be flying around. And I think that's when not our offense, but our defense is at its peak, when guys are flying around and not having to think about much of it, just playing the best football that we can.
As you kind of think about your legacy, what do y'all want that to be? And, going forward for these future guys, what kind of imprint do you want to leave on them for the future?
I definitely want to, have people look up to me and think of, not base themselves off of who I was, but I feel that, I kind of have left a leadership role here at Pelham, and I want somebody to pick it up and, take that along and then leave it off to the younger guys, of course. So just a leadership position and taking that and running with it.
Definitely for me, I don't want to just be remembered as a football player. I want to be remembered as somebody off the field that was, there for others. They're just serving others. I know, my class, when I was sophomore, we look up to guys, and we still talk about it today, like guys like Matthew Rye or Xavier Lankford. Those guys were really just role models to us, and we still talk about those guys today. So definitely I want to leave a good legacy and have my name just still spoken in the locker room, and just know that I wasn't a great on the field, but I was great off the field.
I think I speak for a lot of people to say y'all leave mark way more than just on the football field. Great role models in Pelham High School. And I got to say, Caleb rocks the mullet.
Yes, he does.
About as good as anybody. I'm not normally a fan, but it looks great on Caleb.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks so much. Looking forward to Thursday and next week Under the Lights in Ned Bearden Stadium.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. When we return, we will switch gears. We're talking cross country. Big week for them. We will chat with freshman Lacey Lambert coming up right after this on the Panther Pulse.
If you call yourself Golden Rule, you've created high expectations for yourself. Each day, the folks at Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill want to make your dining experience one they'd enjoy as well. That means a hello when you walk in the door, service with a smile, and delicious food made to order. Their pit-cooked barbecue is aimed to give you that homemade feeling. Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill, serving up good eats in Alabama since 1891 and ready to serve you in the Pelham Town Center, just a few doors down from Publix.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of Pelham Panther Athletics. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power and Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number, 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
9,997. No.
Suppose Thomas Edison had given up.
9,998. But his failures only led him to the next idea.
9,999.
Picture Times Square, dim, Las Vegas dark, your home black. Picture no electric light.
10,000. Come on.
Optimism, pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Back here from Golden Rule, it is the Panther Pulse marching along here on a beautiful fall evening. Joining us now, we have Coach Marty Springfield back with us again, as well as freshman Lacey Lambert, a standout cross-country runner. How you doing, guys?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Great to have y'all. And, Coach, we'll just start with you. Recap how the season's been. I know we talked with Thompson earlier, wanted to get a girl representative. So how's the season been?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been going well. Really looking forward to sectionals. We have sectionals on Thursday. It's our qualifying for state. We get 4 teams out of our section. We're in a tough one, but we hope to definitely get the girls in and maybe even get the boys in. You never know. If we do not get in as a team, then we got a chance to get some individuals in as well.
So how does that competition work with the individual versus team progression? Like, how does scoring work, and how does it line up individual versus team?
Yeah, so scoring is our 5 best athletes from every team. Low score wins, just like golf. And so, the higher you place, the lower your score is. And so as far as throughout the season, we've been a pretty good group. for sure, but we've got a really good group of middle school girls, especially on the girls' side since Lacey's here. And so by moving them up, we're going to place much higher than we really rank coming in.
We could spend a lot of time talking about how that scoring works in cross country. I feel like we could do an entire segment on when an individual's with the team, when they're not with the team, it doesn't count as one of the points rankings, and there's a lot to it.
Yeah, there is. There is.
But when you're going into a meet like this, into sectionals, do you kind of have a goal time where you feel like this is what the points that we need, this is where we feel like we're comfortably in?
Well, sure, and of course, the internet makes it easy for me to look at what everybody's done all year, not just our team, obviously I know that, but Chelsea and Briarwood, which is probably our biggest competition as far as getting in. I think any of the three of us on the girls' side could be third, fourth, or fifth. So I can look at see what they've done, and we've crossed paths sometimes, but we haven't run against either one of them in over a month, and so it's hard to know because cross-country courses are so different. It's not like track. Mm-hmm. It's not flat. It's not exactly and so it's a little different. You project the best you can, but it really does come down to racing, head-to-head racing, not just time. Obviously we want to run fast, but if we run slow but we finish in front of them, that's all good.
And Lacey, what about you? I mean, do you have a time that you have in mind that you need to get to? Is it just about beating a personal best? What are you thinking?
Really, at the next course, it's just about beating each person in front of you. You really, with the course, it's a lot different than the faster ones. So you're really just trying to get the places and get ahead of everyone.
What is your kind of mental preparation for a race? I mean, it's different from other sports. It's a very mental kind of thing. So do you have any sort of steps that you take to get ready for a race?
I really just make sure I'm awake and up and moving really 2 or 3 hours before the race and get some good music, just listen to and hang out with my team.
What's on the playlist? What gets you hyped up?
Me and some of the girls normally listen to Taylor Swift.
Okay, T-Swift, a little T-Swift. I would need a little something more upbeat maybe, but
if I'm getting up 3 hours, something's going to do the trick. I couldn't even wake up in time for a race, no less 3 hours before, so that's impressive in its own right. If Taylor Swift's doing the job, stick with it.
Whatever's working is obviously working for you. So what got you into cross country? I mean, what drew you to the sport?
I visited one of the practices this summer and just really had so much fun running. And I needed something to do on the off season for soccer. And after I ran my first 5K, I just really wanted to improve and get better and sort of stuck with it.
So how does it sort of change your preparation for soccer and influence your work on the field?
It really helps with the stamina and being able to play an entire game if needed.
So this is a sport I know a lot of coaches and athletes will say it's about competing against yourself. A lot of times it's just trying to beat your own time, and that's how you keep improving. How do you, I guess, go about coaching something like that when it's all about competing against your last time, or last race, rather?
Yeah, honestly, there's some things that hopefully I can instill in them as far as desire, but a lot of that's internalized. I mean, that's something that the better ones are going to have before they even get to me. They may improve on it, may get better, but I think when I was here with Thompson earlier, we talked about the athletes I get tend to be highly motivated as far as not just as athletes, but they tend to be good students. They're going to do their best in whatever it is that they're doing, because a lot of the work that has to be done for cross country has to be done away from me. I mean, yes, we have practice every day, but they've got to get in runs on their own. They've got to do some things on their own. They've got to eat well. They've got to get sleep, make sure they're drinking plenty of water. So there's a certain amount of dedication that has to come with being a distance runner, no doubt about that.
Is there anything as far as diet that you kind of push on the runners for preparation? I know that's kind of something you see athletes coming in with a fried chicken plate before a game, and they shall remain nameless. But is that something you focus on and have to kind of keep them disciplined?
Not really, honestly. I mean, we obviously would want them to eat healthy, but nothing specific as far as I know, when I was running, they would talk about you got a carb load, pasta, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, that carb loading doesn't come into effect unless you're running over 25 to 30 minutes. I hope that none of mine are running over 25 to 30 minutes on Thursday, so it's not I just tell them to eat something that they're used to. You know, as far as for pregame, something that they eat all the time, and their body's used to it, and it's going to accept it, and everybody's going to be all good.
Lacey, we see, you know, often out of the window from my classroom, I see guys running around the school, and I know that's what y'all do for practice. What is different from that environment than a competitive environment when you got all those people around?
It's really, you're just like, it's a lot slower, and you're keeping a more steady pace, whereas during like a race, you try to speed up during the race, in the middle of the race, and get faster.
Do you have a problem pacing yourself in those races when you're maybe trying to catch up to somebody and you're using them as sort of a guide to push ahead?
It really helps to pace yourself off of someone else and slowly get like closer to them and end up passing them, and then you just pick off them one after one, and yeah.
So do you like having people around you when you race? I know cross country can get kind of spread out between runners, but you like staying close to people?
I think it helps with my competitiveness. I like having someone like, oh, I got to beat her. Oh, now I got to get up there.
So your parents ran at PHS. Tell us a little bit about that and how that kind of motivates you.
Yeah, they both ran for Coach Springfield. My dad actually ran track for him, and they've just really pushed me and like helped me with my cross country. Yeah.
Is there any competition with you and the parents, maybe to try to, you know, beat them and put your name on those record boards?
There is with my aunt, both of my aunts. I beat the records already.
Wow, that's all in the family.
Yeah, almost everyone in my family ran at some point in their life.
And she's already saying she's the best of all of them, so, I mean.
Gotta love the confidence, right, Coach?
Yeah, so you had asked how she got out there, so I kind of recruited her out there. And, of course, I had to end because I coached mom and dad, coached her aunt. So, it was something I'm like, hey, talked to her dad. What do you think about getting her out to maybe one of these summer practices? Just no pressure. Let's just have her run a couple of times, see how it goes. And, you know, thankfully, you know, she got out there. She liked her girls, and it's all worked out. But, yeah, it was definitely a recruiting target for sure.
Well, you knew with the family and the genes.
I was crossing my fingers. You never know. But certainly both mom and dad could run.
So what are your expectations for Thursday? What are your goals in going out to sectionals?
My goals are to make the top 6 other than the 4 teams that are making state. Just to go to state and run my hardest.
And we got to ask you about soccer while you're here. What are your sort of your goals with that season around the corner with taking from cross country into soccer?
I'm hoping to improve a lot and with my skills and like just gain more experience.
Awesome.
Let's not start on soccer. I could go another 30 minutes. So.
We could, absolutely. Well, guys, thanks so much. We're going to keep Coach Springfield around. We've got some of our track athletes coming in. But good luck, Lacey, and thanks for coming to chat with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, we will be right back here from Golden Rule. We're going to chat with Devon Adams and Chloe Plummer. That is coming up right after this on the Panther Pulse.
At some barbecue joints, a pork sandwich is more bread than pork. Not at Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill. Their pork sandwich is packed with so much juicy pit-cooked meat, you'll also need a fork to eat it. Big portions at a not-so-big price. That's the Golden Rule way since 1891. It's the oldest continuously running restaurant in Alabama. Pork, chicken, brisket, ribs, burgers, catfish. Our menu is as loaded as that pork sandwich. Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill in the Pelham Town Center, just a few doors down from Publix.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of Pelham Panther Athletics. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power & Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number, 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
If you're experiencing a temporary financial hardship and are struggling to pay your mortgage, we may be able to help you keep your home. Hardest Hit Alabama is a federally funded foreclosure prevention program. If you qualify, Hardest Hit Alabama can pay your mortgage payments on your behalf or provide other forms of assistance. We've helped thousands of Alabama homeowners, and we may be able to help you. Visit hardesthitalabama.com to learn more. Brought to you by Hardest Hit Alabama, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Back here from Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill, it is the Panther Pulse, our weekly tradition here during football season, the final regular season edition of the Pulse. Joining us now, several of our indoor and outdoor track athletes. Guys, welcome Chloe Plummer and Devon Adams. Y'all doing all right tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll start with Coach on this one again. Just sort of walk us through the season for indoor, outdoor, the difference maybe from cross country and why these two get confused a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of people's minds, cross country, indoor track, outdoor track, it's running. It's like one sport of running, which a lot of our athletes do overlap. Certainly our distance athletes, 99% of them are going to do all three sports. So, but both Chloe, Devon, they're quarter milers. They may run a little up, a little down from there, but they're 400-meter runners. So they're sprinters, and just not, cross country is not necessarily their thing. I think they do well. I've recruited them, but they have turned me down and decided to stick with both.
That tone of voice, track. You can tell he's tried, and he's been turned down already.
I've tried, but that's okay.
So, Chloe, you can answer this. Why not? I mean, what do you not like about the prospect of cross country, and why do you like the sprints?
Well, I went to one cross-country practice this summer, and I absolutely hated it. So, I just think that I like doing more short distances just because the pain's over a lot quicker than running cross-country where it's all about endurance and running for a really long time.
So how long have you been doing it, and what kind of, attracted you to the sport?
I started running outdoor in 7th grade, and then I started indoor in 10th grade, but I started running because my brothers did it, and I just kind of fell in love with it.
I know a lot of people talk about track being that spring sport because outdoor is what you see a little bit more of, but indoor is rather new, across a lot of the state. Does it still get you excited being this close to a season?
I'm really excited. I think this season's going to be really good because we have a lot of new people coming up, and especially because we lost a few last year because of COVID.
So when does the season start? What's the practice schedule looking like?
We start practice on November 8th, and our first meet is December 4th.
And it runs until when?
Mid-January.
First weekend of February is our state meet.
So it's like a shorter basketball season.
We've got 2 meets before Christmas, and then we'll have 4 after.
And what's kind of the overlap of events with those two seasons, indoor and outdoor?
So most of them are the same. From indoor to outdoor, we have 60-meter sprint indoors. That turns into the 100. They also add the 200 outdoor. Outdoor, we pick up discus, we pick up javelin. But otherwise, everything else, 400, 800 mile, 2 mile, 4x8, 4x4, those are all going to be the same.
So I know those indoor events can be pretty big because there's not many venues in the state that can hold them. So when you go to one, there's a bunch of athletes, a bunch of teams. What's that atmosphere like?
It's great. I mean, we're over at the Crossplex, which is, it's the only facility in the state. It's one of the top facilities in the country. They've hosted NCAA D1 Nationals twice. They've hosted D3 like 12 times. So amazing facility. Volleyball's over there this week for their state championships, but hydraulic Mondo track, they can raise it up and down however they want, depending on the race. So we've got as nice a facility as we could possibly hope for. But you're right, that's the only game in town. Mm-hmm. Everybody's there, so big crowds. That place holds 4,500, and you'll have 4,000 in there for a lot of the meets that we go to, and it's great.
What's it like from the track and from the event space?
It's definitely, I like the atmosphere a lot better in that sense because you can hear your team cheering for you. In the smaller track, it seems a lot longer because you have to run double the distance, but not actually. So I don't know. I kind of like it better because it's a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I will ask about the events. Well, the thing about going to a track and field an event is trying to keep up with everything going on. What's being cheered for right now? I'm looking across the field, and there's like 3 different things going on. How do you handle that as an athlete? You hear cheering, and it's not about your event at all.
Well, I just kind of take it as encouragement, whether it's for my team or not.
Usually, same as Chloe, I take it as inspiration. You know, oh, they're doing good. I want to do good too. You know, show out for the team and everybody else to show them that, like, I can do this too. Like, I can hold up to my expectations and do better than everybody else. So.
It's a lot easier to watch when it's the Olympics and they show you which one you're supposed to be watching. When I'm out there, it's a little hectic for me. There's a lot going on at one of these events.
Do y'all feel like the Crossplex has kind of grown the sport a little bit? Do you think there's more enthusiasm with such a nice facility to compete in?
I would say yeah, because if not, I don't think people would want to be as prone to want to do it.
Yeah, I agree, because it's like more space. You know, more people can like come out and support and watch their favorite things, kids, and do their best to like hold their, I guess, it just brings more attraction to it, basically.
Absolutely.
How do you prepare for those events, especially indoor, when it's only the one facility that really has everything?
Usually it's practice. Try to keep up with the pace with everybody else. Don't try and lag behind everyone. Usually, because before the meets, you know, you're ready, you're prepared. We're like, okay, I can do this, I can do this. You get on the track, everything just goes away. But you got to try and stay in the zone so you won't zone out. And once the gun go off, then you got to go. There's no holding back. You got to go out there and put everything out there on the track.
Y'all are playing a very more individualized sport. It's more about the individual, but I seem to sense a good bit of team unity and support between you guys. Could you talk about that relationship between you guys and the sports you have for one another?
I definitely think that with track, it is an individual. You're trying to score and be better than you were the last time, but at the end of the day, all of our points combined to see how well our team did, and we have a very supportive community at practice and stuff. We all talk to each other. There's not really much clique type stuff going on, so.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone does their own event, but when it's their time to like go out there and show what they're made of, and everybody comes together and cheer for everybody to make sure that they do well and hope for the best of all the team.
With all that said, I'm sure there's got to be some competitiveness between you guys.
Oh, yeah. At practice especially.
Do you feel like it pushes y'all to be better in the competition? And maybe like siblings, you know, we can go at one another, but they're not going to come from my family.
100%.
Most definitely.
Now, this is something, I know it's a little weird with track, the two-sport athletes. You're allowed to do track and do another sport in the same season. The rules are a little bit different for it. Do y'all go out and recruit from other sports, trying to get your friends to come out for indoor or outdoor?
Yes.
I try, most definitely. I have a lot of friends who like, oh, come out here, do this, do that. We're like, oh, I'll think about it. We're like, man, you're going to enjoy it like a lot. And sometimes they come, sometimes they don't, but end of the day, you have people there and you support them and get through the day.
Well, we know Caleb Newell came out. Shout out to Caleb, who was on here earlier and had a lot of success in shot put. We kind of know that, you know, a lot of the successes y'all have, you don't get the shout-outs that football does or basketball does. What would you say to your classmates about coming out and supporting and taking part in what all the successes y'all have and the good things y'all are doing?
Our track meets are a lot of fun if you're there, especially if you're there cheering for people. So they might be long and really tiring, but it's fun to show out.
I most definitely try to encourage people to show up because, you know, it's, like Chloe said, it's a lot of fun. It's really, like, heart-going, like you're there and just like, oh, this is really fun. Like, this is cool. You see all your friends out there, get excited for them, and, like, then keep going. Try to show up to every meet. Sometimes you can make it, sometimes you can't. But just do your best and show out for your friends, and maybe they'll do good.
Yeah, if you can time it right, you can see a lot of events over there. And I promise, if you want to say the Pelham student section special, that'll make you special. Show up at an indoor meet. You're not going to be having many student sections out there, so that's how you can make your name known.
Well, we know if it's during school, we'll have a pretty decent student section.
That's right.
What are some goals y'all have for this year?
I definitely want to get a sub-1 400 and keep it at that. And I want to go to state and hopefully win an event in state, maybe whether that be a relay or individual event.
My goal for 400 is to get at least 49.60 and ride out through outdoor, maybe get lower, maybe 49.03 or maybe high 48. My main goal for indoor is to place in 4x4 because I haven't really placed it in since my freshman year. It's really kind of heartbreaking because usually outdoor we usually place in it, but it's always indoor that we somewhat struggle through the most, and I just want to go out there and show out and finally place in it.
Well, best of luck to you guys. Appreciate you stopping by, and Coach Springfield bringing everybody and coordinating all this. Great to have y'all.
Thank you.
All right, we will wrap things up. When we return, Coach Causey back with us to preview Thursday's matchup against Homewood. That is coming up right after this on the Panther Pulse on 93.3 The River.
It's easy to trust a business that's got good history. Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill has been cooking up good eats since 1891, when the first Golden Rule opened up in Irondale. Golden Rule has been one of Pelham's most popular go-to spots since 1980. Whether you want a pork sandwich, slab of ribs, or a feast tailor-made for tailgating, Golden Rule is ready to serve. Good food with a good history. Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill in the Pelham Town Center, just a few doors down from Publix.
State Farm Insurance Agent Joseph Chambers is a proud supporter of Pelham Panther Athletics. Joseph and his staff can take care of your home and auto insurance needs as well as life insurance. State Farm was recently ranked #1 by J.D. Power and Associates for life insurance customer satisfaction. Joseph's office is located in the Canyon Park Office Center. His number, 205-663-3276. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back here on the Panther Pulse, winding things down here from Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill. I want to take a moment to thank Joseph Chambers, your State Farm Insurance agent, for his support of Pelham Panther Athletics. Joining us again, Coach Tom Causey. And time to turn our attention to Thursday night, another Thursday night. Got to correct myself. Another Thursday, and a battle with Homewood, always a good one. But 8 straight losses to Homewood, dating back to Caleb's time in high school. How much of a motivating factor is that for our guys in preparation, especially with last year's?
I hope not much, not really, because it doesn't matter. We talk to them all the time about making champions decisions and practicing that way, and whoever we play, that should be the same. I think that's more for me and you and people in the stands to look at. I'm hoping they're looking at Homewood's defensive front and their coverages and the offensively what they're doing, and because that's what we're trying to teach them to do anyway. That we get to that point where our opponents really don't matter. What matters is what the scheme is and who they're doing it with, and the name on the front of the jersey shouldn't matter a whole lot. But I look at that. I do. I know I've been here 7 years and we hadn't beaten them, and we've had some really, really good football games with them. And I'm looking. I think we'll have the same kind of thing of Thursday night as well.
Now, I asked them the same thing, but this is a third straight road game, and I know as a coach you might look at it as an opportunity to get better, stay focused, things like that. But can it wear down on the players a little bit?
Yeah, and I think it does. And 2 of them were not short trips.
Yeah,
they weren't overly long, but this was not going to be a really bad trip at all. But you can get the same way when you start the season off with 3 home games in a row. You're ready to get on the road, man. I remember sitting in here talking to you guys about that on our first road game, and I was ready to get on the road. I think it's good that we do that before the playoff game. I do. I think 3 in a row like that, and then being blessed enough to host one makes you appreciate playing Ned Bearden Stadium a little more. You get a chance to be on Bobby Hayes Field and go play.
Yeah, that crowd will be 4 weeks in the making right there.
Yeah, and our students and our student body and our band and cheerleaders have been phenomenal all year long, but we play at home. And we have a good group of students that go on the road with us as well, and I think that they're anxious to get back in the stadium as well. But we're looking forward to going to Homewood. They got great facilities, and they're extremely well coached, very physical football team, and it's a great little tune-up before the playoffs.
I mean, we're used to seeing a physical team with Homewood. How does this team compare to the ones we've seen in the last couple of years?
It's almost they're you can go get a film from 5 years ago, and slap it on, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between 5 years ago and now. And to me, that's a credit to the culture that they have at Homewood, their coaches, and how they run their program, and the expectations and standards set by the guys that's been there before them. You know, that's what we're trying to do at Pelham. We're trying to get to there. Coach Bergeson and so many other great coaches come through there. You know, they've done it over the years, and honestly, you could probably go back to the mid '90s and turn the film on and it looked the same. They just that's a tribute to the parents and the players and the coaches and the program that they run over there. So they'll be physical. You got to beat them. I don't see them lose ball games. They don't play a lot of bad games, and they play such a strong schedule that they have to be that way each and every week, honestly.
Yeah, we talked about Homewood. It's 10 weeks into the season. I can't really get a good feel about how good Homewood is. I mean, they beat Chelsea, who beat y'all. They just barely lost to Briarwood, but then they also have some bad losses, some blowout losses.
Yeah.
Is it tough to gauge how good a team is when they're so hot and cold?
Not really. Because this is going to sound so cliche, but I don't really worry about the records. Only time I worry about the records is our guys looking to see what their records are. I could really care less. You see good football, and you know good football, and defense, are they squeezing, are they bouncing, are they running the ball, are they forcing things to the boundary, do they have eye discipline, are their eyes where they're supposed to be, do their linemen stay on blocks, do their D linemen get off of blocks, and they do all those things, and they play a really good schedule against people who are really well coached as well, and they've come up short, you know. And when we sat here and talked about Chelsea, you know, you said they lose to Chelsea. Chelsea was tearing them up, man, and they got hot. They got a really good junior quarterback, and he's a winner, and he's gotten better and better in the last 2 years. He's 2-year starter as a junior, which very rarely happens at Homewood. Very rarely does a sophomore start at quarterback for them over there. It's usually a junior or senior, and he's gotten a ton better in a year, and he makes them go, and they're never out of a game. His older brothers are tied in, and I think he's playing in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. I heard you guys talking to Caleb about that. But you know you got to be a dang good player to be a tight end in that game, and so they don't have that big time running back that sometimes they have out there, a Stephen Davis kind of guy. But they got 3 or 4 of them, and the Ray kid Woods. I think his name is Woods. He's become that running back. He throws the ball extremely well. Strong, big bodied, strong arm, but he carries the ball between the tackles. They have quarterback runs for him because he's 215, 220 pounds. You know, it's not like running a 160-pound guy up in there.
What are you looking for from our guys as points of emphasis in this game?
And really, to start cleaning things up, we have to play 48 minutes of hard-nosed football and play fast. And like I said last week, a lot of that was because of the situation. So I'll put that game in there, but we've really only done that 3 times this year. We did it against Mortimer Jordan, we did it against Wetumpka, and we did it Friday night against Chilton. And, you know, I didn't realize the Wetumpka score was 41-14. We were going back through and kind of comparing some scores. I'm like, my goodness, I know we played well. I didn't know that was a score. That may be awful, but, you know, if we can play and if we can duplicate that, then that's what we're looking for.
I know when you look at Homewood, you look at Pelham, our new assistant principal came from Homewood, their superintendent came from Pelham. Do you think the similarities in the communities and the school system plays into that rivalry at all?
I think if you were to be able to teleport in time, 25 years, I think the 2 schools and school systems would be very similar. You know, and I know you're not necessarily talking about that, but maybe you are. We're so young as a city school system. And Homewood's been around for several years. I think in 25 years, they'll be very, very much alike in the way that the 2 schools look or 2 systems look. But as far as football goes and athletics goes, I think we're very similar. I think they're a little bit bigger than we are, and a little bit bigger population than we have. But I look at their team and I see our guys and I see where we want to be as far as the culture and how long they've been doing it. And I think that's the difference. They've been doing it for so long at Homewood. In all ways, and as a city school and as athletics, we want to get there. We want to be that consistent as they've been.
We talked last week about how staying focused, especially once you know your playoff opponent, which you now do. So on the flip side of that, how does this Homewood team, how do you think that they can help prepare you for that game against McGill?
Well, two things. McGill's going to be extremely well coached. They're going to be disciplined, and they have a history of being good in the playoffs. That's Homewood.
Yeah.
They're extremely disciplined. They're extremely well coached, and they have a history of being good in the playoffs. So we get to see that same program different. There'll be different skill guys and different linemen and all that, and the schemes are going to be a little different. But as far as kind of giving us a measure stick, what we got to work on the following week, I don't know if we get a better opportunity than playing Homewood.
Just playing this game on Thursday, is that kind of a reason? Maybe get an extra day of preparation
Well,
for next week?
Prep time, opportunity to go watch our opponents, and which gives them an opportunity to come watch us
That's
too.
true.
But that you're less likely as a coach to take off and drive for 4 hours when you got a game the next day and then drive back 4. So they may send somebody to watch us, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of show our guys some film on Friday, put to bed Homewood, and then start working a day ahead on McGill-Tula.
Should be a good one this Thursday at Homewood, 7 o'clock kick. You can hear it all right here on 93.3 The River. We'll be on the call, as well as Kyle Cotton. Coach, thanks as always. Been
Absolutely.
great.
Thank you, guys.
Can't believe we're at the
and I'm
end
going
of
to
the
say
regular
this
season.
again, and I say it every week, but you know, I really appreciate Golden Rule, what they do, 93.3, what they do for not only Pelham football, but Pelham High School, and the hospitality that Golden Rule gives us each and every week we come down here. So thank y'all so much for what you do.
Well, we appreciate, what you do and coming out and taking the time every week to join us. And just can't say enough about it. It's a lot of fun for us, too.
Yep, absolutely. It is fun.
All right, Coach. Looking forward to Thursday and playoffs next week. Thanks to all of you for tuning in on the live stream, tuning in on the radio. Caleb, been a good one.
Yeah, I got out of here without saying anything bad.
So far. Still a little bit to go. I want to thank again Golden Rule. Thanks to Joseph Chambers, your State Farm insurance agent. Want to thank all of our guests, Caleb Newell, Jalen Tate, our track team members, Chloe Plummer, Devon Adams, Lacey Lambert, Coach Springfield as well. That is it here from Golden Rule Barbecue and Grill. We will check in again on Thursday night at Homewood, 7 p.m. kick. Hope to have you all join us then. For Caleb Turrentine, I'm Justin Foster. For all of us here at Golden Rule, good night and go Panthers.